Welcome to rSlash Am I the Butthole, where OP's husband decides to buy a house with his mom instead of with his wife. Am I the butthole for calling off my wedding after my fiancé bought a house with his mom? Okay, so I'm a 28-year-old woman and my fiancé is 30. We've been together for 5 years. We were planning our wedding for this fall and had been talking for years about our future, like kids, finances, and buying a house together. We had a whole plan to save up, find something we both loved, and make it our home. This was talked about a lot. Welp, turns out he already bought a house, but not with me, with his mom. And he didn't even tell me he was looking. Apparently, his mom found the perfect place and convinced him to split it with her because she didn't want to rent anymore. So now, instead of us planning our future together, he's financially tied to his mother, who's going to be living there full time. I just stared at him like, what the hell? And then I asked where I fit into all this, and he goes, oh, well, you can move in too, of course. Like I'm supposed to be thrilled to live in a house his mom picked out, partially owns, and is just there all the time. He also admitted that he did it because I was taking too long to save, and his mom offered a faster way to own something. I was so shocked and pissed. I told him I needed space. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I can't marry someone who thinks this is normal. So I called off the wedding. And now his whole family is blowing up my phone saying I'm being dramatic, that it's just a house, and that I'm overreacting because we can still live together. Even my own parents are saying canceling the whole wedding is extreme. Like, am I losing my mind? Am I the butthole, or is this a giant red flag? OP, he purposefully hid his intentions from you. He made a huge financial purchase without even consulting you. And he expects you to just live with his mom, I guess forever until she dies for the next 30, 40 years. These are not the actions of someone who loves and cares about you. These are the actions of someone who's trying to trap you into being a caregiver for his mom. Am I the butthole for kicking my sister out of my house for telling my husband he's so lucky to be rich? My husband lost both of his parents when he was 17. Their deaths were preventable, and others died alongside them, and because of this, a lawsuit followed. And at a young age, my husband found himself orphaned but wealthy. But I think we can all understand that his money wasn't some great thing that he celebrated because it came at a huge loss for him, his parents. We met a few years after he was awarded the money, and we got married after dating for 4 years. We're now the proud parents to our 3 kids, and we have a stable life. We're very comfortable, and few know exactly how much my husband actually has. He's very smart with his money, and not only invests, but looks to our future and the future of each of our children. We both still work very hard, but the money means that we're also very fortunate. My family, my parents and my sister, is aware that my husband's parents are dead. They also know about the lawsuit and that the money was paid to the family members. They have no idea how much my husband has. Not my parents, and definitely not my sister. But they do know that my husband said that he would give all the money away to have his parents back. Which is why I reacted strongly when my sister made the comment that she did. We had my family over for dinner. My sister mentioned wanting to bring her boyfriend for any future dinners, and everyone was talking about that. Then, my sister mentioned wanting to go away with her boyfriend for the weekend and how they were saving up to go. She said that it was a big step because they were also talking about moving in with each other. My husband mentioned that we had gone to the place they were talking about going to and that they would have a great time. My sister said she hoped so, but she wouldn't have the same kind of money that he does. My husband told her that we did nothing fancy there, which is 100% true. My parents wanted to know when they were thinking of moving in together. Things were going fine. Then my sister, out of nowhere, said to my husband the least he could do was offer them money for the weekend away since he could afford it. I shut her down and said that she wasn't entitled to other people paying for her trips with her boyfriend. My sister responded that he could afford to send them for a month if he wanted to. My husband told her that was a big ask, and she snapped at him and said that he had no idea how lucky he was to be rich because she'd give anything to have that kind of money. The insensitivity of that comment enraged me, and I told my sister she needed to leave. I made sure to get her butt out that door too because I wasn't tolerating that BS. My sister has told me almost every day since that I overreacted and throwing her out was over the top. I told her that I don't want to hear anything but a sincere apology from her to my husband, and until that point, she can stay out of my house. My husband said I didn't need to stand by that, and that he didn't want to come between us. I told him that he wasn't coming between us. She was. Am I the butthole for my actions, and am I being too harsh here? I just think that comment is downright cruel and vicious when you consider my husband had to be orphaned to get that money. Your sister is incredibly heartless for saying that, also super entitled for implying that she wanted a month's worth of money to go to a vacation, but also the thing that I kind of have to point out here is she's also insulting her own parents. She said that she would do anything to get that kind of money, when we know that OP's husband got his money from his parents dying, implying that she would be okay with her parents dying to get that kind of money, which she said in front of her parents. So somehow she managed to insult every single person who was present at that dinner party. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your sister 2 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for angrily telling a person, I'm sorry I was born this way, after she said that my hair was cultural appropriation? I'm a 19-year-old female. I'm also a Caucasian person, which is relevant, I think. I also have a natural fro, think Jew-fro or something. I'm not exaggerating when I refer to it as a fro. It's a big, round, puffball of curls from my head. I have a friend group. Almost all of us knew each other in high school. I'm not sure exactly how relevant this detail is, but almost everyone in the group is a person of color. We get together every once in a while, and the last time we met up, the topic of cultural appropriation came up. Topics like this are not unusual for us, as we sometimes talk about political or societal topics. We all have the same left-wing beliefs, so it's easy for us to talk about these things. In the discussion about cultural appropriation, fros came up. Afros, more specifically. I didn't really think much of it for a while, as it makes sense to me that someone mimicking the hairstyle of people of color would be offensive. I didn't really contribute to the conversation except for nodding along, as I agree with what they say, but I can't really add to it as I'm white. At some point in the conversation, I started to feel like people were looking at me. Not like conversational looks, but kind of like looking me up and down before glancing away and repeating. I brushed this off, as I've had issues with social anxiety when I was little, so most of the time when I feel insecure, I figure it's just my anxiety bursting through my medication to bite me in the butt. However, after a few minutes of feeling this way, one friend commented how weird it was that I have my hair in a fro despite being white. All of my friends are well aware that my hair is completely natural, so I don't do anything to get it this way, so I was taken aback. A few other people chimed in saying stuff like I should straighten it and that I was adding to racial tension and making people see me and think it's okay to appropriate fros. I snapped and said, I'm sorry I was born this way. I was using a loud tone, which I'm not very proud of, as I myself am very adverse to anything that resembles yelling. Some of my friends looked disappointed, while others looked kind of disgusted, and they all just kind of left after that. This is a really dumb argument. Black people aren't the only people allowed to have curly hair. It's kind of funny that OP herself calls her hair a Jew-fro, which kind of automatically means that there's an entirely separate ethnic group that also has curly hair. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your dumb friends 1 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for never telling my mother that I married into money? I'm a 34-year-old woman, and I have a difficult relationship with my mother. She had me when she was 17 and was addicted to various substances when I was growing up. She would leave me with whoever would watch me for days on end, and I'd end up mostly raising myself. I left home at 16 and couch surfed with various friends until I was able to get my own place. At 25, I met my now husband and we got married 3 years later. His family is the polar opposite of mine and are incredible, so loving and warm. I honestly consider his parents mine and call them mom and dad. They also happen to be quite well off, but that isn't something I care about. I mention it because it matters to the story. Last year, my mother reached out to me after a decade of not speaking to her, wanting to reconnect and introduce me to my little sister, who's 2. I was confused, as I hadn't even known she'd been pregnant, but it seems she'd been a change of life baby. I thought maybe she had turned over a new leaf, and if not, I wanted to make sure the kid was okay. At first, it seemed like things had changed and she was trying. This illusion lasted for the first few visits over 6 months. Then she broke down, told me she couldn't do this, and asked me to take my sister. My husband and I had a long talk about it. We'd been struggling with fertility and had been considering adoption anyways. We told her if we were doing this, we were doing it right, and we had his family's lawyer ensure that it was a legal adoption and airtight, which took several months. My in-laws adore her and consider her their granddaughter. They've even set up a trust fund for her. We've allowed my mother one supervised visit per month, so she's not totally cut off from my sister. But it was during these visits, things went badly, as my mother saw how she was dressed and the toys she had, and realized they were expensive. She began to rip into us for hiding the fact that we have money, and how if we had just given her money, she'd have not given us my sister, as she could have taken care of her better. I told her that while we have some money, it's mostly my husband's parents' money, not ours. So she had no right to know about it. Also, that I wouldn't have given her money anyways, as I didn't trust her. She broke down, calling me a selfish B-word who never considered how hard things were for her. I now feel some guilt. My husband has told me that if I want to make myself feel better, he'll give her money. But that seems like a bad idea, as she'd likely use it badly or blow through it and then expect more. Despite this though, I do feel bad. Maybe I should have tried to help her more now that my luck is better, or maybe I should have been honest with her. Am I the butthole for keeping this from her? Your mom, if you can even call her that, literally abandoned you, so she doesn't deserve your time or your sympathy. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your deadbeat mom 4 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for embarrassing my stepmom at dinner after she tried to teach me a lesson about my real mom? I'm an 18-year-old girl, and I live with my dad and my stepmom, who's 43. My mom passed away when I was 10, and it's still a sensitive subject for me. My stepmom came into the picture a couple of years later, and while we're civil, we're definitely not close. She's always had this weird vibe, like she's trying to compete with my mom even though my mom isn't here. She gets snippy when I talk about her or wear anything that belonged to her, like my mom's old necklace that I wear basically every day. Anyways, a few nights ago, we were out for dinner with my dad, stepmom, and my stepmom's parents. My stepmother's mother asked about the necklace, and I said it was my mom's. She gave it to me before she passed. I wear it every day. My stepmom immediately cut in with, "Well, technically, I'm your mom now. I've done more mothering in the last 8 years than she did in 10. I swear, the whole table went silent. I just laughed and said, if you think being a mom is about trying to erase the actual one, then yeah, you've been amazing. She looked like she looked like she'd been slapped. Her mom gasped. My dad told me to apologize, but I refused. I said that I was tired of her acting like my mom never existed, and I wasn't going to play along anymore. Now my stepmom is barely speaking to me, and my dad says I need to be the bigger person because she's just trying to connect. But to me, that didn't feel like connection. That felt like erasure. Yo, why does the 18-year-old girl have to be the bigger person and not the 43-year-old woman? As bad as your stepmom's behavior is here, the real villain of this story is your dad for allowing this behavior. He's your father. It's his responsibility to protect you, even from your stepmom. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your dad 2 out of 5 buttholes and your stepmom 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for refusing to help my best friend with her wedding because she didn't make me a bridesmaid? Me and my best friend are 24-year-old women. I'll call her May. We've been close since middle school. We've talked about being in each other's weddings, so when she got engaged last year, I assumed that I'd be a bridesmaid. She recently asked me to help with the wedding planning, but when she showed me the list for her bridal party, I wasn't on the list. I asked why, and she got awkward and said she had to make some choices. The party included her sister, her fiance's sister, and a few newer friends she's known for a couple of years. She wanted a small party. I didn't want to make a big deal though. I congratulated her and I figured that I'd still be a guest. But then she started asking me for a lot of help. Things like dress shopping, DIY decorations, venue hunting, making party favors, etc. I finally told her, hey, I love you, but I feel weird doing all this when I'm not even a bridesmaid. She got angry and said that she thought that I'd still want to be involved because we're best friends. I told her I'd still be at the wedding, but I wasn't going to do all this extra work when she didn't even consider me close enough to be at her bridal party. Now, she and some of our mutual friends are giving me the cold shoulder, saying that I'm being petty and making the wedding about me. But I'm not going to be doing bridesmaid level work when I'm not one. Am I the butthole? Sounds like she just wants free labor. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving the bride 1 out of 5 buttholes. That was rSlash Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.